Hello, my name is Jean Luc Scherer, and I'm a business development manager at Khalifa Innovation Center. Khalifa Innovation Center is a business incubator aiming to turn research projects into profitable, successful startups. At Khalifa Innovation Center, we aim to fast forward your journey as an entrepreneur and as a founder. Fast forward with KIC. Now, we are lucky to live in the UAE, a country that has had a visionary leadership, a leadership that has helped the country to transform progressively from an oil economy to a knowledge economy and more into an innovation economy. We have seen this over the years. Not only has the country developed its infrastructure very rapidly, but it has also very rapidly embraced new technologies. And vision has very quickly turned into reality. I've been here for 10 years in the country, and every day I'm still amazed at how quickly things happen, at how quickly new projects, new innovations are implemented. And it's no surprise also that the UAE is one of the fastest moving countries in the world when it comes to the pandemic and addressing all the challenges from the pandemic. But really all of this is related to this strive to constantly innovate, this strive to turn the UAE into a digital economy, an innovation economy. And what that means also is that the leadership has recognized the importance of innovation, not only in terms of products and the services, but also in terms of businesses. And that means startups. The startup ecosystem has been rapidly growing over the last couple of years. And the startup ecosystem is also progressively and very quickly maturing. When we look at the UAE ecosystem, it's really increasingly at the heart of the vision of the country to leapfrog into the future, to leapfrog using innovations and using technology. When we look at the ecosystem, the way it's set up today, it's typically built around three pillars. It's built around spaces, collaboration spaces, and incubators. These are typically the places where you go with your idea and you start developing a team, developing a business, maybe register the business, and get that basically that initial nest that you need, for your small startup. And as you progress, as you develop more and more insights about your customers, as you get more and more validation, as you have your minimum viable product falling into place, that's typically when you go into a business accelerator, run through typically a 3 to 6 months programs that will basically help you with two things. One is to accelerate your customer traction, accelerate your customer development, refine your MVP, but also validate your business model and make you ready for investment. The third pillar really of that ecosystem is funding, and having both angel investors as well as venture capital and funds basically supporting startups and helping them to grow and ultimately maybe become unicorns. When you look at that ecosystem as it is today, it has been rapidly developing both in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. If we look locally here in Abu Dhabi, we have places like ADGM, Hub 71, Crypto Labs, 2454, which are all these incubator spaces where you can start and set up your startup business. And similarly in Dubai, you have places like IN5 or DTAC. And the government has also been active to support the youth as well. So the youth hubs is also fostering more and more of these entrepreneurship mindsets to get more and more startups coming from the UAE. On the accelerator side, here in Abu Dhabi, we have also a few programs which are already in place with Hub 71, with their programs run by Techstar. We have Plug and Play working with ADGM. We have Start AD. And we have a number of places as well in Dubai, and notably the Dubai Future Accelerators, focusing on government type of businesses, as well as accelerators like Interlac focusing on travel and tourism. The fact that we get this type of specialization, not only at generic type of business incubators and business accelerators, means also that the ecosystem is maturing, and we see more and more of these programs now being deployed, being put in place. And last but not least, we need the funding. We have companies like Mubadala, Wanda Capital, Biko Capital, Khalifa Fund, Tawazun, Sanduq Al-Watan, all of these players are there to, take startups forward. And there's also angel investor communities. Now, this is a rapidly growing ecosystem, a rapidly maturing ecosystem, but at the same time, there is some gaps. There's some gaps in that ecosystem. In particular, today, you could say that the majority of the programs, the majority of the places focus still on pretty much digital-oriented or digital-based businesses, and that means often e-commerce, platform business models built around supply and demand, brokering, similar to things like Uber, Airbnb, or Souk, very much focused on digital. And also now progressively we see emerging support for fintech. But what about deep tech startups? This is where we believe there's a gap. Deep tech startups require a different type of support that most of the programs offer. Why? Because the technology by itself needs maturing. Not only that, the technology needs maturing, but also very often when you look at deep technology, the user is often a business. And that means that the engagements are often more complicated. They're often B2B type of engagements. And when you work with corporate customers, they usually want assurance, they want pilots, they want to validate things. And these pilots often require much more money than when you run, again, an e-commerce or any other type of digital business. Today, if you have a pure digital startup, you can do things for almost for free, whether it's for creation or for reach. It's not that expensive. But when we look at turning research into commercial products, it's a different ballgame. We need that type of support, basically, to turn pilots into successful deployments. And that is not always cheap. So when we look at the funding, then there's a funding gap. There has been a funding gap because the majority of the investors, let's say when you look at angel investors, it's not that mature as an ecosystem, and they will still look primarily at e-commerce and fintech. And when you look at the VCs today in place, they're primarily targeting post-revenue types of startup. So as you can see, there's a gap both in terms of what existing programs offer, as well as the type of funding that is available on the market. In addition, the transition from research to startup requires a different type of coaching. Most of the researchers, they have established reputations, they have the credibility in their research area, but what they often need or lack is a complete team, is often the business side of things. And all of that requires a very different type of coaching as when you teach or support another type of startup. So all of these are actually points that we aim to tackle at Khalifa Innovation Center. So first of all, for all the startups joining us, we offer the physical space. The physical space is to make sure that you have your mentorship close by, you have all the resources you need close by. We also provide them different types of programs, bootcamp, and the support for commercialization, which is very important as well. And here we're talking about things like the pilots and securing the funding of the pilots as well. Now, for the funding part and for the programs overall, we couldn't do it without our partners, our founding partners, I should say, which are Tawazun, Khalifa Fund, Sanduq Al-Watan, as well as Mubadala. Together with Khalifa University, they helped us to set up in place Khalifa Innovation Center. Now, I mentioned the funding. Funding is important, but also when you engage with with corporates, when you engage with customers, you want to make sure, especially when your startup is based on research on deep tech, that your intellectual property is secured, is protected, so that it doesn't get leaked or misused, by maybe a potential competitor. So we support also in that process, defending, protecting your intellectual property. In addition, our team is, cross-discipline. We have experience from the startup world, we have experience from academia, and we have experience from the corporate world. And that means we can also help these startups, both with industry connections, as well as matchmaking with the right type of corporates in specific industry verticals. Of course, we provide a very hands-on mentoring and a very close coaching to make sure that all of our startups are put on the right rails. Now, you could wonder, why is it important? Why is it important to have another program or a program focusing on deep tech? And I think the answers to that is very much given by what we have seen over the last 12 months with a pandemic. What we have seen is that a lot of our infrastructures are fragile. A lot of our ecosystems are fragile. And when it comes to critical infrastructure, and when it comes to things like agriculture, or healthcare, or AI, these are all very important industries to start think about. How much can we depend on imports? How much resilience do we need to build up? And to build up resilience in areas like whether it's agriculture or healthcare, we need to start having technologies that is built locally, whether it's drones, whether it's AI systems, whether it's robots. All of these type of technologies are getting more and more important for countries to have a grip on. You could also say that, when you look more specifically at areas like artificial intelligence, for instance, today, this is becoming more and more of a pillar as well for the government. AI is central to the UAE. We even have an AI minister, but can we rely on all AI technology coming from the outside? AI systems are often sold as or provided as black boxes. We cannot afford to only have these systems on the outside. We actually need to build these systems in the country as well. So we cannot have this dependency constantly on external systems. So investing in deep tech and having local deep tech is increasingly important. Now, that commitment to technology, and also the ambition of the UAE to rise as a technology leader, and not only as a technology buyer, is really visible nowadays. And probably the best example of this is the recently launched Hope Mars probe, which really stresses and emphasizes both the country's vision to leapfrog into the future, as well as its commitment to deep tech technology. And this is really kind of the final message I want to give you. Deep tech is going to be increasingly important, and we want to be there as your partner. So bring your research to life and fuel your entrepreneurial soul at KIC. Come to see us, come to talk to us. Whatever stage you're in with your idea, we are here to provide advice. We are here to provide you guidance, and we are here to put your startup on the right rails. Thank you very much for listening, and again, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And all the best with your research ideas, and try to turn them into successful startups. Thank you.